Are you ready to get casual? Grab your favorite adult beverage or combustible plant and join us for our roundtable TTRPG discussion. Oh yeah, it's time for Casual Friday. And now, here are your hosts.
Hey, we don't need a beat. We could do it a cappella. What's up? We are the Landlocked Warlocks. This is Casual Friday. Exactly, just like that. I'm Jim. That's Brad. That's Ryan. Welcome to the show. Hey, Phil. How you doing? So what we do on this show is we talk about the newest news in the tabletop industry. And one bit of new news is this. Whoa, the Hellfire Club. Welcome to the Hellfire Club, Netflix, Stranger Things, Dungeons and Dragons, box set. And I have this. I wanted to show a few things from this, and we can talk about the return of Stranger Things. And I think I said in the show notes, will it save D&D again? I'm having trouble getting the box open. Because we've seen with previous seasons, there's always a bump. There's a little Netflix bump. Some of these maps are pretty cool.
You're getting proctologist jokes talking about colons and bumps, buddy.
Got proctologist. Heyo.
Heyo.
Let's see. Let me show you the Dungeon Master screen.
So, was that map a mall?
There's a Star Court inspired. There's like winks and nods at the show in the
Hellfire Dome.
Oh, okay.
Farm tunnels is what it says.
Gotcha. Okay.
So there's one. So it comes with a play guide, which has got it looks weathered on the edges. And very 80s style art.
Yeah, for sure. The font and the red background is very much the 83 box set vibes.
And so the way this box set works is that it's a lot like Heroes in the Borderlands, is that there are multiple separate adventures. Here's the Vanishing Gnome is a level 1 adventure. There's Scream of the Crop. See what they did there? That's a level 2 adventure. And Ballad of the Rat King is a level 3 adventure. There's another level 3 adventure in there. But in the play guide, they're leaning into that idea about multiple dungeon masters. There's a section about that in here somewhere where it again recommends using multiple dungeon masters. That's just 6 abilities. I don't remember. It's in there somewhere. Maybe it was on the read me first page. But the main thing that I bought this for was these.
Pre-made characters?
These yellow character sheets. And so unlike the Heroes of the Borderlands set, which went with those boards, these have different sheets, and there's multiple sheets per character. There's one for each level.
Nice.
And the thing, except I don't know how easy it is to see on there, but if you can see on some of these sections, they've got this kind of graph paper lined looking background that actually makes it kind of hard to read. Can you see that?
I can't see the graph paper, but
the camera picks it up a little bit in like the blank. You can see it.
It's hard to see.
I don't know if that's inventory or what. It's pretty
okay.
subtle. I believe the term is goldenrod. I've said canary in the past, and I believe goldenrod was actually the name of the yellow in the pink, yellow, white carbon copy world. I forget what the pink is called.
Oh, here's the other level 3 adventure, Devil Metal Die. And here's a handout. I don't know what that is. I haven't really looked at the adventure content, just in case I play this before I run it. But the only thing I didn't like about these is I really wish they would have given us a couple blank ones. You know, you could have given us a couple blank ones, right?
Yeah.
Handouts. This looks like a devilish contract, and it looks like on this side you got to hold it up to a mirror to read it. I think that's backwards.
Metal.
Oh, that's cool.
Super metal.
Yeah, I'm
handouts.
digging the style, the whole thing. Like the different adventure guides look very much like the old school D&D modules. Like the art style, everything was just screams like 80s D&D.
This is the map. This is the poster map. So on the one side here, you've got Billy. Was that his name?
Eddie.
Eddie, how dare you?
Sorry, it's been. I haven't seen. I saw the last season was like 4 years ago. I haven't watched it.
It's been a long wait.
It's been,
Been a long wait between seasons this time. Yeah.
but then on the other side,
Yeah, the actors are like 30 now.
on the other side, you get the full map of Gray Hawkins.
Gray Hawkins. I like it.
And what I like about this map is that it has some named locations like Oak Shore and Golden Wheat, but then it has a lot of just landmarks that don't have, like, here's the, as you can see,
on there, right?
Tomb of Horrors guy. There's
Yeah.
there's several landmarks on here that aren't named, which gives me kind of Breath of the Wild vibes. I like that. It's just like put down the map and be like, hey, what's that? We should go that way. See what's
Yeah.
over there.
And now, are those identified in the adventures, or are those for the DM to make up their own content?
I haven't looked at the adventures yet. I don't know. It's got
Gotcha.
the same kind of. There's no minis, but it's got the tokens exactly like Keep on the Borderlands or the Return to the Borderlands. Heroes of the Borderlands. What the f am I saying?
Heroes of the Borderlands.
Yeah, they used a lot of common game components, which answer my question of why are these two box sets coming out so close together? Because like it has the same combat tracker, and it has similar spell cards and magic item cards, the exact same dice set, and a bunch of like monster and NPC cards and stuff.
Nice. So this is actually a D&D adventure. It's not like a modern day Stranger Things adventure.
Correct. From what I understand, it's very similar to 3 or 4 years ago, or maybe it was the late 2010s. They put out a Stranger Thing product called the Hunt for the Tessel Hydra,
Mm-hmm.
which was like in world. So the adventure was written by one of the Stranger Things kids, and so this is all the whole shtick of this is that Eddie wrote all these adventures and left them behind for the Hellfire Club to play.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's kind of spoilers for Stranger Things.
There's a lot of like winks and nods to like Stranger Things content, but I think you could walk in without having that background and like you'll miss a joke here or there or something. But I think this is very much for the Stranger Things fan who's trying to get into D&D for the first time, inspired by it, and it's like, oh, that's the ice cream shop at the food court that he has taken inspiration from, or like whatever. Just as real DMs should be doing. Like, I don't know, go take a walk. You see something weird, put some goblins in it, turn it into something else. Bam, you got a dungeon. Let's go.
Oh, I found that section on swapping roles. It says playing a character and being the dungeon master aren't permanent roles. Each adventure booklet in this set is a self-contained story. Whenever you begin an adventure, determine who will be the DM for that story. If your group consists of 5 or fewer players, the previous DM can either choose from the remaining character sheets or play as the new DM's old character. For groups of 6, previous DM always plays blah, blah, blah. Either way, ensure your character's level is appropriate for the upcoming adventure. Now, yes, Watsy, thank you. Yes, I like if they're going to lean into this like with all their products or with some, at least some of their products leaning into that idea, you know. Because when we were kids, we were taught that the dungeon master was a terminal life sentence.
Right.
You know,
But it also came with like this weird privilege that you were the god with DM fiat, right? Like, so that was the trade-off. It was like DM fiat, you know, but eternal chains to the role, right? Like you are now stuck.
yeah.
That's the only way you get the privilege is to sacrifice your soul.
Typical like genie sort of situation there.
Phenomenal cosmic power, itty bitty living space.
I mean, I think to me the real, this has standard box set stuff like just a few handouts. But to me the real appeal of this system is like finding a bunch of your old buddies and sitting them down with yellow character sheets in front of them, people who will just really appreciate having that nostalgia button pushed. That's who this set is for.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Um, yeah. Runehammer in the chat brings up the point that it would have been really cool if like you had this nostalgic art style on the Keep on the Borderlands or Heroes of the Borderlands set, since that is so nostalgic, right? The Borderlands adventure is like one of the iconic adventures of all time.
Yeah, like all the art in here, aside from the opening map, it's all black and white art. It's all old school style art.
Yep.
And I've only seen some like
Did a
flip
very
throughs. I
good
have
job
not
of showing this.
purchased this yet, but there are a lot of hitting that nostalgia button, as you said. There's a lot of callbacks especially in the player's guide, which I think is still color. God, I don't have the art history terminology for it, but the composition of a lot of the pictures of like the kids playing are echoing stuff from like late 70s, early 80s, first edition. Like I think there are people who haven't picked up a D&D book in 30 years that are going to have that bell of recognition run.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another, like if I had someone in my life who hadn't played D&D since 88, this would be a great way to get them back on the train.
Yeah.
This is like the 80s satanic panic mom's worst nightmare. Look, it's kids playing Dungeons and Dragons, and behind them, real demons are being conjured.
That's right.
This image kind of feels pointed now that I've studied it a little more.
Yeah.
Like that
Definitely.
was deliberate.
Oh yeah. Mr. Vincent in the chat says he's happy with to be the forever DM. I'm curious, Mr. Vincent, how long have you been DMing? I asked because I recently hit the wall. I mean, I've been DMing for like 40 years now. But I recently, like just like end of last year, hit the wall where I'm like, I need to play. I need to take a break from DMing and I need to play. So, okay, since 79. So, yeah. So that's impressive.
So you might have some of these yellow character sheets in a folder somewhere.
Yeah, its mom threw them out.
Yeah, my stuff got thrown out at some point. But yeah, I always bragged about like I am cool with the forever DM role. I am happy with it. But yeah, last year I hit the wall with it, and like I've really needed to do more playing than DMing recently.
And in my experience, most forever DMs, they don't hate it. They just need a break every once in a while. You just need to sit on the other side of the table and get your creative juices stoked by torturing someone else for a few hours.
I was fairly recently introduced to the concept of DM main, and like that is how I identify now. It's
okay.
Like, I prefer to be the dungeon master. I also really like variety. And life comes in waves at you, and sometimes you're just like, I got nothing in the tank. Like I'll run an adventure I already ran, but like, oh boy, I don't got any creative juice left over, guys. Like, let me just be a cleric and push buttons on D&D Beyond for a couple weeks, and then we'll reassess.
Yeah.
So in order for us to tie this back into the thing that I made the thumbnail and the title about, do you think that do you think that this will move, that the new season of Stranger Things is going to move the needle? Or this box set is this? Well, I will say, let's say this for once. Watson got the timing pretty much right.
Yeah, yeah.
This isn't
solid.
like the D&D movie tie-ins that come out a year after the movie. This is actually the appropriate time for this to come out.
Yeah, or the Baldur's Gate tie-in that came out almost 2 years before the Baldur's Gate game came out, right? Like, yeah. Yeah, I mean, Bob Worldbuilder solidly believes, based on all of his Google foo, that that Stranger Things clearly gives D&D a bump. So it'll be interesting to see if that happens this time.
Past performance does not guarantee future results. I'm not a financial
True.
advisor, but I think it depends. We're talking about the last season of a beloved show that I think has maybe burnt a little bit of goodwill by taking years. Like I'm not invested right now. I don't remember what happened. So sticking the landing. We've seen like there's Game of Thrones is no longer in the shot, but it's on that shelf. and like from the most relevant TV show to the butt of a joke in a matter of a couple episodes. So
yeah, it's a solid point.
Crossed.
Yeah.
Didn't Stranger Things kind of invent the multi-year between seasons? Wasn't Stranger Things the first show to really do that? To say, it's going to take however long it takes? Because the first season was like, what, 2015, 2016?
Yeah. 2014, 2015. Because it was right in line with 5e, basically. That was like the perfect little cocktail. I think even if it's not as big as the initial push of Stranger Things season 1, I think it'll be something. And like just looking at chat, getting like kind of different vibes on like, what Runehammer was just saying, like, I wish the art in the starter set was like the art in here. And like having this two-pronged, like, oh, there's a couple versions of D&D. There's like cartoony high fantasy that you can sit down and, play with your kids. And then there's like heavy metal, black and white, like Hunter S. Thompson weirdness vibes. And like, I tend to gravitate towards the weirder, darker stuff. But like people coming in for Rainbows and Sunshine have an on ramp now as well. So I'm almost, and then that was the starter set. Like that seems to be the way things have been going more and more and more. So I feel like this is almost maybe a little bit of a correction towards the old school, but this is like a standalone thing at the same time. So we'll see what it means for the future of whatever official releases.
Yeah, it's in response to your question, Jim, I think the stretches between Stranger Things seasons was also kind of circumstantial. Like I don't know if they had a deal for a second season. So I think like once the first season was super popular, I think they had to work out the deal for the second and third season, and then COVID hit at some point, and then that stretched things out. And then, so I don't know how much of it was like creative choice. We're going to work as hard as we can to do this, but we're not going to rush it. We're going to do it right. How much of it was that category, and how much of it was just circumstances of the world?
Yeah, I don't know. It's sort of outside of the scope. We will digress from this and move back into the world of tabletop role-playing games. Any other thoughts on Hellfire Club or Stranger Things, guys?
It looks like a great product, and it definitely is hitting all the nostalgia buttons for me.
Yeah. All right. So moving on, we are going to talk about the portmanteau that you didn't know you needed, Wrestlemania.
It made me so happy when you're like, hey guys, this. It's like, oh, I need it. I want it.
So the evil Ultra Dracula has conquered the peaceful country of Greco-Romania. And the only way to stop him is with professional wrestlers. This is on Backer Kit. It is funded. There's still 20 days left from 9th level games. And there's a couple things I wanted to talk about this. Mainly, I wanted to talk about the rule system because I kind of remember vaguely hearing about this. It uses a rule system called Polymorph, right? That's the name of it, right? Polymorph. We'll get to that in a second. Wrestlemania is a legacy Metroidvania tabletop role-playing game about kick-ass wrestlers fighting to save the world from Ultra Dracula, filled with unlockable secrets, bonus content, and amazing wrestling. Oh yeah, the QR codes. I wanted to talk about that too. So the way that it works is that you so you choose your wrestler, which is your class. You could be an ace, high flyer, bruiser, or monster, and each class is just one die, and that's the only die you ever roll. Then under the how to play section, so let me zoom into this a little bit. Let me see if I can zoom into that. Okay, so this is the polymorph system. You kind of have to ignore the controller on the left side of the screen. It's mostly just there to confuse you. It doesn't do anything.
I can't
So
ignore
the way
it. It calls to me.
I know, right? It makes you feel
A
like
B A B.
you feel like I need to understand this to understand the rules, but it's not. So basically, to do anything in the game, you roll your die, and if you hit your target number, you do the thing. So the way that works is that if you're an ace and you only have a D4, you would never be able to block, because to block you need to roll between a 5 and a 9. Or so if you're an ace and you have a D4, you have a much higher chance of dodging than the who's the guy with the D10. The monster has the D10. The monster's going to have a much harder time dodging out of the way or figuring out a solution. This is like super clever. I think
It is, yeah. It's really neat.
there's no math involved. You just have your one die. It says the GM never rolls. It's the in-house system for 9th level games. So it's in Thunder Road, Maze's Fantasy Role Playing, Pigeons 11, Kobolds Ate My Baby. I definitely know about Kobolds Ate My Baby, and it's also, I saw this. Let's go to that. The games it's been used in, Rebel Scum.
Okay. Cool.
And the way it works, so yeah, in Rebel Scum, you've got the same kind of, how big can I make that? Can I make that big enough to see? Yeah, so you've got, to get intel as a 2 or 3 on your die. So this is a very, very, I mean, you can explain how to do this in, 30 seconds? Choose your class, this is your die. If you want to do a thing, you got to roll and hit one of the numbers.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You could even do like a D&D kind of fantasy thing where like 1 is like cast a spell, right? So, you're, and then make your wizard the D4 and your fighter the D10. So it'd be like very rare that the fighter would ever cast a spell, right? It's a very clever design, and it speaks like gamer language, right? Because like the D10 is like the tank, the D4 is the DPS, right? It looks like you're more likely to to get that power attack with the D4, right? So it's cool. Like it makes sense on multiple levels. Like,
I think this would be really good for GM-less games. Right? If you had a bunch of players and a random table, some random tables for complications or whatever, you don't need a GM to set a difficulty if you're using this.
Solid point. Yeah. Yeah, we should play around with that. Like make an adventure, like make a GM-less adventure using this system. Does this system have a open license? Could we do that?
It has. I made it too big now. So it has a free license if you're just making stuff to give away, and then you can actually license their SRD for $100 if you're doing a commercial release.
Gotcha. So we could do one for free, and if people really like it, then we could pay the $100 and make more.
It's a very simple system.
Yeah.
And like in Rebel Scum, you can see they've added some rules on top of it. So you have that, but then you also have, I can't remember where it is. There's some other, you get, you have edges and some, I don't remember now, edges and a danger counter. So yeah, it's kind of like our TTRPG You Dare. It's so simple. You could very easily build upon it.
Right. Yes. Speaking of You Dare, we need to to get that You Dare optional rules out at some point.
Like campaign mode?
Yeah, well, like we had talked about doing optional rules for like, you know, where you could add in like, you know, some type of like hit points or conditions and that sort of stuff to like add a little complexity to the game for campaign play.
Yeah, we do need to get back to working on that. So many projects, so little time. So the other thing that I found pretty interesting about this game is that it comes with a set of QR codes that you can print out, but the QR codes are incomplete. And so you need to unlock whatever to be able to tell you like which parts of the QR code to draw in. And then so once you unlock them, you can scan them to get whatever.
Oh. That's also a really cool way to do GM-less games.
It's an interesting idea, right? Because like you get the answer to the puzzle is in your hands the whole time. You just have to fill in the right things to be able to unlock it.
That's really cool. And so this, like the setting behind this is vampires and wrestling. Is that what?
Ultra Dracula.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see if it says more about the Ultra Dracula and his miniature demonic horrors. So yeah, you're just you're a group of wrestlers going to fight Dracula as you do. And I assume lots of lots of puns about suplexes and that sort of stuff are going to be happening. I would play this in a heartbeat. Yes, sign me up.
Yeah. We just talked about how like I've like needed to play more than DM lately, and I am currently just last night started playing in a Vampire the Masquerade game.
Nice.
And my character is an MMA fighter that got turned into a vampire. So yeah. Just to connect this to our previous discussion, and to track it all, you know, consistent thread here. Mr. Welsh says about the new Stranger Things box set that the make or break point for him is if there's stats for Joyce, Winona Ryder's character. If you've ever watched his channel, you know that's a big inside joke. Him and Winona Ryder. So.
Yeah, so that is anything else to say about Wrestlemania? Let's see if there's more of a description about what the gameplay is supposed to be.
I don't see what the
Games
confusion is. It's
campaign.
Dracula versus wrestlers. What? I mean,
Yeah.
it says it on the box. Come on.
Yeah, maybe we're looking too much into this. Everything you need for 6 players. Yeah, super cool.
Yeah, my best friend would love this. He's an old school wrestling fan and he loves vampires. So like, we just have to throw some heavy metal in there, and it would be the perfect setting for him.
Yes. Also coming out pretty soon is the Forgotten Realms Heroes of Faerun book, and we got a little teaser, sneak peek. It's coming out in just about a month, I think, mid-November, I believe. There's 2 books, right? This is the first of 2.
Mm-hmm. That just gave me like time vertigo, though. It's like, how is November a few weeks away?
I know, right?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Pretty wild. Got Halloween costumes? It's almost time.
I do
I
actually.
don't want to talk about it.
So, this little information drop, they're telling us about a new rule called Circle Magic. Circle Magic is a method for amplifying a spell through coordinated network. When a circle spell is initiated, morning nacho, one caster leads while others, called secondary casters, lend their magic to expand, extend, blah, blah, blah. Any spell has a casting time of 1 action or 1 minute or longer. So that means everything except bonus action and reaction spells. Because there's nothing between 1 action and 1 minute, right?
No.
Right?
I
don't
don't
think
there is.
I like parsed that for a while. I was like, so all of them? But
It's
like not
written
bonus action.
weirdly, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's written
yeah.
weirdly. The primary caster chooses the targets, maintains concentration, provides components, expends the spell slot, and makes any other choices. Secondary casters take the magic action and must be near the caster, contribute to the spell. Spell's casting time is longer than one action. They must take the magic action each turn and maintain concentration on the spell for the entire casting time. So basically, what they're doing is they're giving PCs an ability that NPC mages have had since the dawn of time.
Mm.
The mage, the multi-mage ritual is a well-worn encounter tradition.
Right. Yep.
And I don't know if multi-caster magic has been available in D&D before. Certainly not in 5e.
You mean like the ability to cast more than one spell at a time?
The ability for multiple casters to contribute to a spell.
No, I think maybe in like certain modules where there's like a specific ritual that has to be done, but not that I know of anywhere in the rule set at least not that I recall.
I'm
So
not
you
super
can't.
familiar with the me in Beck Me, but if anywhere, it would be there. And there's like
Mm.
Dominion level, like you're not doing it, but like you got a wizard's college back at the castle, ritual casting some stuff or whatever, detecting your, identifying your magic items, whatever it is. But it's interesting to see
So
it all like codified now.
the abilities that you can, the ways that you can alter are augment, stretch the spell's range, distribute, let your allies share the burden of concentration. That's a little vague. Expand, widen the spell's influence, meaning increased area effect, prolong, make it last longer, safeguard, shape the weave to spare your allies from the storm you unleash. That could be extremely useful. No more being all fiddly when you cast the fireball. Let it fly. Supplant, replace costly material components with the collective strength of your circle. Other effects, some spells like the ones in Cluebill can produce additional effects. They gave us 2 spells, which we'll talk about in a second. Supplant is very interesting. Does that mean now that if you have a cleric, because it doesn't say anything about schools of magic. So if I have a cleric who wants to cast Revivify, doesn't have a diamond, can the wizard burn a 3rd level spell slot to make it work? Is that how people are gonna? That's how people are gonna game this, probably.
Someone's gonna come calling for that. Someone's gonna ask. I think we get a little more of an understanding in the spells they spell out, and it does seem rather maybe punishing. I don't know if that's too strong of a word, but it does. They don't make it easy in the little example that we get, at least.
Okay, so the first new spell that they give us is called Doomtide. When you cast a spell, you summon forth a roiling cloud of psychological torment that spreads from your position. The spell creates a 20-foot radius sphere of inky magical darkness that can deal 5d6 psychic damage to creatures caught within. But that's not all. Those who fail their saving throw also subtract 1d6 from their saving throws until the end of their next turn. So it's essentially synaptic static plus darkness and less damage. What it doesn't say anywhere in here what the level of the spell is. It's implied it's 3rd level because it says casting as a circle spell. When cast as a circle spell with at least 5 secondary casters, you can expend a string of 3 black pearls from Pandemonium to extend the spell's range. I assume will make sense if you read this in the book. To extend the spell's range to 1 mile and sustain its power until dispelled, freeing it from limited concentration. On top of the rare component, additional secondary caster components, each secondary caster must also expend a level 3 plus spell slot. Otherwise, the spell fails. So I'm assuming Doomtide is a 3rd level spell, probably.
My like roller coaster ride of this is like, okay, this is really cool. They're setting up like team up capabilities between casters for PCs, and then I got to this, I was like, oh, this is for dungeon masters. Because when cast as a circle spell with at least 5 secondary casters, so there's 6 people in your party, nobody's a fighter. And the other 5 people are not interested in making a choice. We don't know if this is an action or a minute or whatever, but like one person's doing a thing for the whole party for the duration. And I need 3 black pearls from Pandemonium, which I'm not, my understanding of the cosmology, that's not easy to get.
Yeah, it's like a scenario where where the party needs to go to the mages college to beseech them to help with the spell, so you get like 4 NPCs who come with you. And like at that point, what do you need the mechanics for?
Mm.
Hmm.
Like you got all these NPCs there. I don't know. But moving on to the next spell.
Real,
Oh, go
real
ahead,
quick,
Brad.
real quick. Mr. Welch answered our question. So it has been in D&D before. Jim, you were close to right. Or no, Ryan said about the higher levels of Beckme. There was a magic item construction that involved everybody working together, but also it was in second edition. The shared casting was in second edition.
Shared casting. Okay.
Yeah, I when it came to the Beckme stuff, we only played basic expert, and then we played first edition. By the time we got to second edition stuff, we were heavily homebrewing everything. So that was not a part of the game that I ever encountered.
Mm. All right, our second spell is called Spellfire Storm. This spell creates a crucible of the weave, raining radiant fire that scorches flesh and hampers magic. Not only does the spell conjure a 20-foot radius, 20-foot high cylinder pillar of spellfire that can deal 4d10 radiant damage to all creatures within, but it also interferes with creatures who attempt to cast spells from inside the pillar's area of effect. Casting a circle spell. When you cast as a circle spell, you can expend a blue star sapphire worth 25,000 gold pieces to extend the spell's range to 1 mile and anchor its power within the circle so it no longer requires concentration. On top of the costing component, each secondary caster must also expend a level 3+ spell slot. So maybe this is not a third level spell. It's just like that's the 3+ is the minimum to be in the secondary caster party. So if you got to burn a blue star sapphire worth 25,000 gold pieces, this is like tier 4 stuff, right?
At least tier 3, yeah. The cool part about this, though, is this could be like campaign plot material, right? Like you could find out early on, like in first tier, you could find out the ritual spell that's going to banish the overlord or the greater demon or whoever your main bad is. You could find the ritual like at level 2, right? But you wouldn't be able to enact the ritual until you achieve certain level of spells, and then find the star sapphire. Like the DM could make the star sapphire a MacGuffin, right? So you could build like a campaign plot with these rules that would help kind of keep your players on rails, right? I think you wanted a more linear story without forcing your players into a linear story, like setting this up at like second level, and having a series of quests be obvious by the steps of this ritual spell. Could be a really cool way to kind of provide a structure to a campaign.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Do you think spell descriptions are improved by sounding more like sales pitches? Like, but wait, there's more. Like,
But wait.
would players be more likely to read all of it if they were typically written like this? Or
That's a good question.
It doesn't really do it for me.
not my favorite, but just like broadly, maybe people would have more retention to get to the bottom of the paragraph of text.
What happens when a doomsday cult collects dozens of casters to send an expanded meteor swarm crashing down on Waterdeep? It's kind of like what Brad was describing. Yeah,
small sample size, but like these seem like things you stop, not things you do in a typical D&D game.
Yeah. Sorry. I think you could go both ways with it though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, establish a ritual spell that's going to banish Orcus, right? You have to make a deal with Demigorgon in order to get a certain part of the ritual spell. You have to find the star sapphire. You have to, find the scroll of, whatever the spell is that banishes Orcus. Now you have these like MacGuffins in play, and role play encounters where like, obviously you're not going to beat up Demigorgon in order to get the information you need. You're going to have to negotiate with him. Right. And then the end goal of the campaign is to banish Orcus, or the other way around. The death cult is trying to summon Orcus, and you have to discover what are the steps that they're trying to do and how can you interrupt them. You could go both ways with it. I think it could be really cool way to design campaign.
I was trying to think if there's really a use case for this during combat. Because any caster would have to, you can ready the magic action, right? So you could, on your turn, ready an action. But what would be the use case for during combat?
It seems like it's super meta magic in some ways. So like, I want to prolong command, right? I'm going to tell you to grovel or whatever, and I want it to be much longer than 6 seconds, so we can run away or whatever. Like, I could imagine some use cases. Getting 6 people together to do just that, is that the best optimal use of player turns? No. Is there a failure? Is there a chance of failure as well? Is it just like one say? I don't know. There's a lot of blanks still as far as like me assessing if I like this or not.
So command is a concentration spell, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, yes, but it's one. I think command lasts one. It's like they spend their next action doing the thing.
Turn.
Yeah.
But if let's say it wasn't command, then let's say it's hold person. Let's say we want to cast hold person or hold monster and have it last all day long. And we're in combat. Can I cast hold monster? Then in the next round on my ally's turn, can they use the magic action to join me? As long as I still have concentration. There's a lot of interesting edge cases and possibilities.
Yeah. What's the? Oh, it's not banishment's an action. There's
a concentration spell though.
Yeah. There's some higher level spells like banishment that take multiple rounds to cast, right? So like you could use hold monster, keep that in place for an extended period of time in order to set up some other bigger spell, that's gonna like plane shift them to another dimension.
Do a magic circle around someone that you got trapped, or
right? Yeah.
Sharing concentration is probably, as far as like combat goes, is probably one of the better uses of it.
Yeah.
Depending on how that even works, but
yeah, I mean that could be incredibly useful for, say, something like if the party has one turn to cast bless before combat starts.
Mm-hmm.
If the paladin can share concentration with the cleric and the sorcerer. I don't know how it works across magic schools, but if your tank who has like a super high armor class and a really high constitution, right? Now they're holding concentration, so they're not only harder to hit, but they have a higher save for their concentration check, right? That seems like a real obvious one that you could use over and over again in combat.
Especially if you can like pass it around, just like run a flea flicker, like send it to the rogue, have the rogue run like bonus action dash away, so they're holding the concentration for the banish that the cleric cast.
Yeah, and I forget the optimization behind it, but there's a certain level with Warlock where Hex becomes not the optimum choice, right? That there's other spells that are more effective, other concentration spells that are more effective than Hex, right? So if you could pass off your Hex onto the Paladin, and they're concentrating on your Hex, so you're still putting out extra damage on top of some more powerful concentration spell that the Warlock's holding on to. I could see that being a very effective combat scenario for a Warlock who typically is not like your DPS, right? Warlock usually serves more of the utility role.
So it seems like we're finding that some creative players can do some interesting stuff with this. Also, potentially, this could break things that we're probably not considering, because if it essentially says you could do this with any spell, right? As long as it's not a reaction or bonus action.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
No Misty Step and no Shield, no Silvery Barbs, but everything else pretty much is fair game.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be some optimization content put out. I'm D4 deep dive and oh gosh, I'm totally drawing a blank.
Treant Monk.
Treant Monk. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. The optimization guys are going to grab this
Safe
and
bet.
yeah, do some cool videos with this, I'm sure.
Chris, we look forward to seeing your spreadsheets.
And just I can just foresee the moment when someone's like, I cast Fireball 4,000 feet to the west. It's like, oh my god, all right, give me 5 minutes to figure out what they've been doing over there for the last couple days and who's standing, and like, oh my god, and what are the ramifications of that? Like, come on, I put you in a box for a reason.
Yeah. Wait, the Hobbit village all had thatched roofs, right?
Ooh.
So now I can if I cast Fireball from 2 miles away, what does that mean?
I have done this math, is what it comes down to. Like, I've rolled for weather to see if the wind is blowing. When a fireball was cast in a bar, the bar was in like the poor side of town, so clearly it's made of wood and soaked with alcohol. So does it spread? And like, most of the starting town burnt down. It was scary at the time, very liberating in retrospect. But we're going to see more of that with this.
Yeah, this actually sounds cool in a lot of ways, and I think could have a lot of uses, like campaign building for the DM, like I was saying earlier. But I think your inexperienced DMs are going to run into optimized players who are going to just like cook their brain with this.
And don't push the button yet for the Sideshow Bob Steps on Rake, but like, I don't have faith that the first splatty thing that comes out for the new edition doesn't break the game. based on track record. Like, I am very much prepared for that to be. Oh, okay, we can. I guess we can call it. We can do it. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't if it was like a different publishing house in a different era. Maybe I would be less likely to be afraid of the ramifications of this release.
But it's going to generate Reddit threads and Facebook group discussions, and it'll be a thing. Will that bring people back to the game, or just give them one more excuse to hate 5e? A little bit of both, probably, because that's what everything seems to do.
Yeah, column A, column B. All right. So moving on to the next thing that we're going to talk about is the thing that we're talking about right now. So you may have heard of the Dungeon Dudes. You may have heard of Daggerheart.
Never heard of them.
You may have heard of Dungeons of Drakkenheim. You may or may not have heard of any or all of these things, but they're all coming together. Dungeons of Drakkenheim is by the Dungeon Dudes, a fixture of YouTube. Those two salty Canadians. No, they're not salty. I don't know why I said that.
The opposite of salty.
Those two
they seem like genuinely nice guys. Yeah.
Lovely Canadian young men who have been made the Dungeons of Drakkenheim, which did so well that you can get it on D&D Beyond. Well, they're officially partnering with Darrington Press to convert Drakkenheim over to Daggerheart. And which, a couple weeks ago, Bob Worldbuilder asked the question in a video, where are all the Daggerheart products? Here you go, Bob. This is official from two up-and-coming D&D content creators are now making Daggerheart 2.
Yeah. Well, and we talked about another Daggerheart product not that long ago. I don't know if Runehammer's still in the chat, but we talked about his Daggerheart product that's coming soon, or it might already be out. But yeah, there's definitely Daggerheart products coming out, and that's exciting.
Have either of you read Drakkenheim?
I have not.
I've seen bits and pieces of the Ghostfire release. I've watched like bits and pieces of like there's a big actual play campaign on there. I don't know if it's on their channel or on a second channel, but they played through it. It's a cool concept. It's similar to something that I've done, which like was like I thought of this first, and grumble grumble. But they do some cool like permanent consequences. Like your meteor hits the city premise. And now strange stuff is happening, essentially like mutations. You're slowly being corrupted, and there's ways to mechanically engage with that and lead into it or whatever. And in fact, in this, talking about like the Daggerheart version, you are potentially you can lose hope, which if you play Daggerheart is your main is like losing spell slots or losing the ability to power your powers. Like that part of the character sheet is actually vulnerable because of the otherworldly forces at play.
Mm-hmm.
And I like stuff like that. I like stuff that has your character changes over time and not just an incremental, exponentially getting better to godlike powers. Like, hey, you died. You're not perfectly fine after that.
Yeah, and to answer Nacho's question in the chat, if I'm remembering right, Ryan, it's kind of like a cross between a campaign setting and a mega dungeon. Is that right?
I would say it's yes, it's urban. So like I think that is a good urban setting is a mega dungeon / campaign setting at the same time. It's like here's your starting town and your dungeon. Like I don't know how different this is going to be, and I am not the expert. There's like things going on outside of the city that is like the mainstay.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think this is going to be an urban adventure where that urban environment has been smashed by a space rock that is from some other dimension.
And also it is supposed to be more like 5e hard mode, right? Like it's supposed to make it a little more challenging rule set, right? There's like some of those things you're talking about, like mutations and that sort of thing, like alter how death saves work or something. I can't remember. It's been a while since I looked at it, but I think it's also supposed to be, to make the game a little more challenging than your standard 5e fare.
They teamed up with Mike Underwood from Darrington, who's a writer on Daggerheart, to convert this over. And yeah, this starts. Does it say when it starts? Soon? I don't know. It doesn't say.
I think it's just in like the sign up phase. I don't think they said it yet.
So that
we'll is. I feel like we've become so impatient too, right? Like how long has Daggerheart existed? We're so like in a society of instant gratification now. It's like I can't believe it took them 3 months to come out with the starter set after they released the game, and it's like, well, yeah, because like things take time to make. I know they take no time to come into your eyes from your phone, but yeah, people have to make things, especially if they want them to be like remotely good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still on board with Daggerheart. I would, I'd be happy to play more Daggerheart.
Heck yeah.
So,
yes.
So I am definitely looking forward to seeing more and more Daggerheart products.
We love the Daggerheart. All right. So moving on to the next thing that we're going to do, we now come to the part of the show we call the catch up, where first we tell you, hey, you, yes, you. Brian, is that your phone?
My phone?
Yeah. Is it your phone buzzing?
I don't think so.
Okay, you watching, go subscribe to the Landlocked Warlocks. We love you. We want to give you content. It's so much easier for us to do that if you subscribe to our channel, the Landlocked Warlocks. Also our individual channels, but that's not important. What is important is that you subscribe to the Landlocked Warlocks. And now we're gonna catch up. So, what you guys got going on? Anybody got any news to share?
Well, like I said earlier, I'm really focused on like playing games right now. Um, taking a like I am still running my Shadow Dark campaign. I really like Shadow Dark. I've said that multiple times on the channel. Um, but very very fast and loose with Shadow Dark. And mixing it up. I've been playing a bunch of other games. So, like I said, I mentioned earlier, Vampire the Masquerade. Played that last night for the first time ever. Like, even though I grew up in the 80s and 90s, like the 90s when Vampire was like huge. I don't know if you guys remember or know, but there was very much like a us versus them. The Vampire players and the D&D players were like oil and water. So I did not play Vampire back then. So it was very cool to get to play Vampire last night. Been playing Song of Blades and Heroes with my youngest son, which is a rules light skirmish game. But yeah, just enjoying a bunch of different games right now.
I am in the midst of a long-running now Curse of Strahd campaign, and the players just figured out all of the things they did wrong the other night and the consequences of them. The last 6 days in game time have gone very poorly for them, but they did not know. That's what's up. I have also been helping a buddy of mine, Victor. Shout out to Victor. Play test a few Adventure League products that should be hitting the DM's Guild in probably a few weeks, which often becomes a few months, as per my last rant about things taking time to make. But a very cool trilogy. I don't know if the titles are finalized yet, so I'll pump those when they do come out. But there's some cool ideas in there. If you're ever looking for like a one shot adventure, people sleep on Adventures League because they like think it has to be played in a store in the system, and it's a whole galaxy of fairly balanced because there's like a rule set. It's a little less fast and loose than like other things you may find on the DM's Guild. There's a lot of good stuff in there. So definitely worth checking out.
One of my all-time favorite adventures is from Adventures League, and that's the Meeting at Deep Night from Defiance and Flan. Written by Sean Merwin. Defiance and Flan was like a 1-3 thing around Phandalin, I think. Came out. I think Defiance and Flan was around the original starter set. Was around Lost Mines of Phandelver.
I really like Sean's work. He does good stuff.
He does good stuff. Brad, I wanted to ask you something because you were just talking about Shadow Dark, and a couple weeks ago on the show, you said something that I've been thinking about. I know that you were tired of 5e and you wanted to enlighten the rules and switch to Shadow Dark, and you sold your players on it, right? Like you were like, "Hey guys, let's do this," and they said, "Sure, let's do it." Right? It wasn't like they came. It wasn't like they came to you and said 5e is too complex, right?
No, not at all.
Okay, so you were playing Shadow Dark for months, and you were reporting that they enjoyed it quite a lot,
right?
But then recently they said that they're missing some of the crunch of 5e, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And you're thinking of implementing feats maybe into the game as a way of giving them more flexibility and more crunch.
Right.
I'm just finding this fascinating. I want to jump 6 months into the future right now to find out if just adding a little bit of crunch to Shadow Dark scratches that itch, or if your players are 5e addicts who will someday have to come back to it because it's got the right level of crunch.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'll just go ahead and say my idea, because once it's out there and recorded, like I can still do it even if somebody else does it, because I said it first. But yeah, so my thought is to design feats that you could take on the even numbered levels, right? Because in Shadow Dark, when you level up, you only get new, what do they call it in Shadow Dark? are they talents? Is that what they're called in Shadow Dark?
Yeah.
You only get
skills.
but you only get them on the odd number levels. So when you level up on your even numbers, all you're getting is hit points. So I feel like you could add in a feat system that so you would get it on your even numbered levels, and it would be a way to put some more crunch back in there without dialing it all the way back up to 5e level crunch. So that's what I've been toying around with. But I don't have enough. I don't have enough to like start playtesting it yet. But that's kind of what I'm working on.
You watch Critical Role at 3x. Are you absorbing the information when you're seeing it at 3x? I mean, like if you watch a 4-hour TV show in 90 minutes, seriously, like, do you really absorb the information? Like, after, can you remember what happened?
Do they like pitch shift? I'm so fascinated by this because like I experimented early on when I used to consume a ton of podcasts, like 2xing it, and like it bothers me, like the voice change, like musically it bothers me.
Yeah.
But it would be nice to consume Critical Role faster. So I'm curious how you find it, Brett. It is a talent in Shadow Dark, and just whatever system you're playing, a level up that doesn't give you much, like those dead levels in 5e, feel bad. Now in Shadow Dark, hit points are much more significant.
Right.
Okay, so you do feel levels up more, but I think that's a good idea. I think that's got legs.
Yeah, and I like Easy D6. Their like character design where you can add abilities to your class to kind of juice them up a little bit. So I'm kind of drawing some inspiration from actual 5e feats, and then the way Easy D6 does their additional character abilities. Like playing around with that, see if I can make that happen.
Cool. But, yeah, keep us posted. I'm very curious to see what's going to happen.
Yeah. I also I showed it here in a couple months back. I think I also picked up Shadow of the Weird Wizard, and I've been toying around with running that. I just don't have enough time in the week to like play Vampire, DM Shadow Dark, and then start DMing Weird Wizard as well.
Yeah.
So I could give my kids away. That would give me more time.
As a new member of Beacon, I can tell you, at least in the app on the phone right now, 2x is the maximum speed that you can accelerate the delivery.
The Beacon app and the Beacon website need some work. There's some problems. I pretty frequently, when I'm watching an episode, just watching it in a browser, I will every few minutes make note of where I am, because sometimes it'll just freak out and lose my place and put me back like an hour into the past. And if I'm not paying attention, I don't know where I am. Just the Beacon website just does that. Just be like, nope, you're not here. Zoop. And skip back like 90 minutes or 84 minutes or 71 minutes or I don't know. So I don't like that.
Show of hands, chat. Who's listening to us sped up? How much do I sound like a chipmunk? Listen, I need to know this now. My wheels are
It's
turning.
all about the narrator. If it's somebody who speaks slowly, I can handle sped up. But if it's somebody who already talks fast, a Brennan Lee Mulligan, I could not handle Brennan Lee Mulligan at 3x. Burrow already gets a lot of words out.
Yeah, Matt Colville's another one. He talks super fast, right?
Yeah, cannot speed up live. Yeah, that's true.
Oh, valid. I meant that would be cool. What am I going to say in a couple minutes? Skip ahead.
Nacho, one thing Beacon has the cooldown episodes, which are pretty much worth the price of admission. Ryan, you're new to Beacon. You've watched the cooldowns, right?
Yes, when you get into like, is it worth it? That's always so subjective. But if I'm going to be consuming 4 hours a week of Critical Role content, and now it bumps up to like closer to 5 with that cooldown thing, like, yeah, that's worth it to me right now. If I fall off the campaign, I don't know. Maybe I'll not keep subscribed. But yeah, it's cool. I like the insight. I like because it's immediately after it. They like cut the episode, and then the cooldown is what happens right after they're done. And Brendan Lee Mullen's like, I'm gonna go pee, and I'll be right back, and we'll talk about everything that just happened. And like, it is very raw and immediate.
Yeah, but I love
YouTube still has the cooldown. Oh, okay.
YouTube has the cooldown. Oh, I didn't realize that. Cooldown's great because sometimes they'll talk about mechanics and stuff. Like it was the Age of Ember ones were great because Matt was talking about like how he was learning Daggerheart and how he was homebrewing it, and like they talked about that kind of stuff in the cooldown, which made it very cool. Down. Yeah. I did that on purpose. Okay, so moving on to our discussion. I thought we could continue. Oh, what's going on down there?
Oh, it's getting murky down there. What was that? That was cool.
Was that just
Do it
was
again.
that my screen? Did you guys see that?
Yeah,
I saw the
that.
glitch. Yeah, that was intense.
Yeah.
Pay no attention to the glitch. Don't worry about it.
If you watch it at 3x speed, it actually is a message.
It makes sense. That's a little thing just for my 3x people. You know who you are. So a couple weeks ago, we did the first Morktober segment where we did a kind of a 5-roomy dungeon. It didn't really end up being a 5-room dungeon. It was more like a region in a campaign world. But based on the words here, Brad, how do you want to do this? You want to pick our words?
Yeah, well, today's the 17th, so let's start there. And then since we didn't do last week, let's go like 2 in each direction. How's that work?
Warden, nails, broken nails. Oh, you mean the 2 on either side, like 1 on either? So like obelisk and wither as well, if I understand what you're saying.
Yep, exactly.
Cool.
Yep. So nails, obelisk, warden, wither, and broken. So let's, Ryan, you want to just pick one of those and run with it? And then while Ryan's thinking, Jim, pick one and throw it out to chat so they can be working on that.
So nails, obelisk, warden, wither, and broken.
Yeah,
those are our words. Chat, give us something good about an obelisk.
All right, cool. All right, so Ryan, other than obelisk, pick one and elaborate.
It better not be shattered. Warden is so interesting because it is a guardian, but so often like good aligned or lawful, right? Like if I say guardian, it's a little more neutral, and it could be like Cerebus is a guardian. Is it a warden though? So like it gives me either like an old knightly order, right? I'm getting like flashes of like the paladin in Indiana Jones guarding the Grail room, who's been like magically kept alive well beyond his prime and is just like ready to cut your head off, but also you could chat with him, but maybe he speaks some archaic version of common because he's been guarding this doorway or whatever the next thing is for centuries down here. So yeah, or some games will also call like a ranger is a warden, like they're guardians of some sort of natural thing. So I'll keep it open-ended. I don't want to shut down chat or your ideas, but there is an ancient guardian here who has been here for a long time and therefore is packing heat that you're not quite prepared for because like he's got the old ways that aren't really practiced, but is also potentially keeping something in as much as he's keeping you out. There's a reason. There's a guardian standing here.
I like it. And the warden could be either if we're going with a 5-room dungeon, right? It could be your role play encounter or the puzzle encounter, right? So that could be you have to get past the warden in order to advance to the last couple of rooms of the dungeon, and like you said, you might be able to fight the warden, but it's going to be a really hard fight. So I always like the idea of like you design a role play encounter, but if the players really push the issue, it could become a combat encounter. Like that.
If you give it stats, you can kill it, and it can kill you.
Yeah. All right. So, Jim, where does this warden live, and how can we connect it to the other options we have? So, chat's working on obelisk. So we've got nails, wither, and burden, right?
Yeah, I was just thinking on wither, and I was thinking of if the warden is the guardian at the first room and the second room is some kind of puzzle or challenge. I was thinking of an organic lock, like an organic lock on the door. The other day, I had this idea for something that just one of those ideas that pops in my head. Like, I'll file that in the back for a future session when that comes up. It was the idea for an arcane bomb that had arcane filament like bomb wires, and the arcane filaments are different colors, and so you can dispel any of the filaments you want, but if you dispel the wrong one, it triggers the bomb.
Don't
so the
cut
idea
the
being
blue
is
wire.
right, exactly. Some of the filaments are like keeping the bomb inert. Some of the filaments are trying to explode it. So if you dispel the wrong one, then there's the wrong balance, and it causes it to explode. And I think you could do that with some kind of organic lock, or not a bomb, but an organic like lock on the door. Like if there are some kind of like tree root kind of lock, maybe, or something like that, where there are different tendrils and you can manipulate them, and like maybe you need to. And maybe depending on party maker, if you got a druid or somebody who can cast wither and bloom or something, some way to manipulate, or blight, some way to manipulate the plants so that you're withering the correct part of the root to access the door while not damaging the magical essence of this organic lock. So you can't kill the lock because it'll do something bad to this dungeon. So we have to something like that.
So okay, so I'm going to take burden, right, and that's going to be our guardian to this dungeon. So there's some sort of like druidic like character who's been imprisoned to be the guardian of this dungeon. So you have to get past this like half tree, half man, guardian to get into the dungeon. When you defeat him, he has a scroll of wither and a scroll of bloom, or maybe two of each. Right, and then the puzzle in the dungeon is this organic lock, and then so it's going to be a matter of like, do they cast bloom on this part of the lock or wither on that part of the lock? Can they unlock it? And essentially, it'd be like 2 tries, because if you use up your scrolls, now you're stuck, right? And maybe that's the room that's locked is the reward. So like you could still get to the plot twist of this dungeon, so it advances the story, but you wouldn't get the big chunk of treasure that's behind the locked area.
So you could so if you run out of scrolls, if you can't wither and bloom the lock open, you can hack through it, but that causes a problem that you don't find out until the twist later. Like, you killed the tree god who is keeping this place together, and now you have 2 rounds to escape before it all collapses.
Yeah, that turns on a timer. Yeah, like a D4 timer, like to steal ideas from Runehammer, right? And so now you got whether it's D4 minutes or D4 rounds to get out. All right, yeah, I like this. So, chat, any ideas on the obelisk?
We'll say
And
this
then-
also, like IRL, if you get certain like plant saps on you, it's inert, right? It's not like poison ivy until you're exposing it to UV light. So if you're out in the sun, there's a chemical reaction, and it sucks. So that could be it's a little gotcha-y. It's like, here's a trap that you don't know you triggered until you leave the dungeon. You're feeling good about yourself, and it's like, roll a bunch of dice. Like, oh, yep, you take this much acid damage now that you're in daylight.
That's great.
I like that a lot. Yeah.
Especially if they get the tree sap on them and they can't get it off. It's like, you've just got this tree sap and you try washing it off. It doesn't come off. Prestidigitation doesn't work. It activates. So Vincent says, if you don't do the trap correctly, it activates the obelisk, which catches earthquake. Oh dear.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe that's the plot hook to get the characters here as well, right? Maybe the obelisk is causing quakes in the nearby area. So, like, the local farmers are having trouble growing plants because these quakes are happening. The local city has had sections of their wall fall down because these quakes are happening, right? So, causing food shortages and vulnerability to the city. So these like random quakes are happening around the area, and so maybe that's your plot hook to get you here as well, right? If you've got to turn off the obelisk or destroy the obelisk in order to prevent these quakes. And then I guess we just need an explanation to tie all this together that somehow has to do with nails.
Huh. Okay, so I'm getting a lot of like druidic, organic. Like, I feel like maybe we're under a tree on a giant hill. So like an old iron nail is like fair. It's like anti-fairy magic in some ways, right? Like a cold iron nail that like into this tree that locked this whole place down. This guardian was set. This other either like twisted version of this organic material has spawned, or some parasitic plant or whatever. The other element in this lock has also like eaten up this nail, stopped the protection. This is the thing that would once again turn off this obelisk essentially from misfiring, creating these earthquakes. And the warden used to know that, but he's gone mad with time. So he's gonna do everything to stop you. But like somewhere in this labyrinthine / 5-room dungeon, the nail is the thing that had been stopping this, and maybe it's rusted out, or maybe the tree like has subsumed it.
Yeah. So what if what if the like kind of the plot twist here is that there's also a way to open the portal to the Fey realm, right? And so, if you're able to open the portal to the Fey realm, now that adds like an extra room to this scenario where you have to negotiate with some Fey entity to get a new cold iron nail.
Mm-hmm.
And that way, and then you can bring that nail back and drive it into whatever being is imprisoned here. Maybe it's an old evil Fey that was imprisoned here underneath the obelisk, and you have to like climb down into the lower room of this dungeon and drive the nail back into its heart so it stops the earthquakes.
It's giving Fern Gully, and I don't hate it.
I mean, Dark Fern Gully. I mean, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd play that. I'd run that. That sounds cool.
I'd play that. All right, so we did it. We made a 5-room dungeon. So then the last thing we're going to talk about real quick here, real quick. Came upon this article on Eon World a couple weeks ago that I liked. RPG Evolution, you stink. So this talking about random encounters. The standard method usually involves rolling a d20 with 18 or higher, indicating encounter. The problem with this approach is it lumps every possible living thing into one big pile. In the vast wilderness, the odds of encountering humanoids are often much lower, but the chances of running into a curious beast are far higher. So essentially what this is saying is you would be more likely to encounter certain creatures in the wilderness based on your behavior and your physical makeup.
Hmm.
And they use the idea of the bear hang. You know, when you go camping in bear country, you're supposed to take all of your food, all of your things like lip balm, anything that's smelly, and put it in a bag. And then you go hang that bag at least 100 yards from your campsite and you hoist it up. And so this is this kind of idea of like, do you consider upwind or downwind? You know, adventurers on day 7 of a cross country are much stankier than adventurers on day 2.
Hmm.
And so I kind of like this idea of, you know, if you, especially if you tell the party that the gnolls in the, you know, the party hears from an NPC, the gnolls in the woods are attracted to the smell of bacon or whatever, and then the party gets bacon in their supplies, they're fair game now.
Hmm.
It's just sort of this idea of like, and I know this probably feels like people like throwing more work on them. Like I have to roll for which way the wind is blowing now, and I would say no, don't do that. But this is just some interesting stuff to keep in the back of your head. Like they have been traveling for several days. They're going to attract, you know, they're leaving campfires behind, and this sort of things are considerations for travel.
Yeah. So I think you could do this fairly simply, right? Like you build your random encounter table for this forest, right? So we're in the, I don't know, the misty wood, right? So you figure out the ecosystem for the misty wood, right? Maybe the dire wolves are the apex predators of the misty wood, and then what do the dire wolves eat? What do those things eat, right? You know, what else might be in the misty wood, right? So now we kind of got like a 4-tier food chain, and then the possibility of like, you know, like a druidic cult that lives in the misty wood, and you know, maybe some random travelers, right? So now we kind of figured out what's in the misty wood, and we kind of scale that difficulty, and then so what are we rolling here? Like a d6, right? So we've got like 12 things, and we're rolling a d6 on the random encounter table, with the likelihood of nothing, or the likelihood of you know, peaceful travelers at the top. So now they make a survival. The party makes a survival check. Whoever gets the highest, you take their number on their survival check, and for every point over 10 or every 2 points over 10, you give a bonus to the random encounter check, right? So if they successfully make their survival check, then they have a far more likelihood of no encounter, because that's the number at the top, and they're rolling a d6. So, you know, safety is like at a 12, right, or 11. Peaceful encounters at like a 10. So if they get a high enough survival check, they're getting a bonus on their encounter die, right? So that way, if they're successful on their survival check, then you can explain your high survival check lets you know that you should put your food up in a bag 100 feet away from camp or whatever, you know, and then you explain why they don't have an encounter that night, kind of that way. But then the other thing you could do is you can have a list of possible negatives, right? So the dire wolves smell the scent of, you know, human body odor, right? So you haven't, if they don't take the time to bathe in the river, right, every few days, now they have a negative modifier to their encounter roll, right? So you could come up with kind of a pretty not too complicated system for your survival and random encounter.
Do elves stink? It's a good question, Mr. Vincent. We don't know.
No. The answer is no.
Brian, do
They
you have
don't
any
produce
thoughts
that
on this?
compound. Yeah, interestingly enough, one of the leading causes of injury to long distance hikers is getting hit in the head with a rock tied to a rope while you're trying to do a bear hang. And as someone who's almost clocked himself in the face with a rock coming back towards him, yeah, it's a thing. So it's interesting. I have a whole playlist and a catalog of random encounter tables that you can check out. My philosophy is if you're on an adventure, something happens. So like the default of nothing is boring to me. The player's actions are determining the likelihood of things and how those things interact. So I like a 2d6 because I like a bell curve. Yeah, it's not a bell curve, but it's close enough to a bell curve. I like having like a probability distribution where more unusual things are further out. If I rolled up a bear and you have done a bear hang or whatever, if it's the Knoll encounter and they're coming after your bacon rations, having them go to the bear hang and you're aware of them, instead of them getting the drop on you while you're sleeping, you awaken to them throwing rocks at the bag hanging up in the tree or whatever, mama bear going out on a limb trying to get it down. Now your preparation has paid off, and now you have one, the ability to like not engage at all, or two, get the drop. So I would reward it even more so than just like, oh, now you have no encounter because you took a bath. It's like, did you use soap? Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, Noel smells soap because that's not a thing that exists around here. You smell like town. You smell like money. They're coming for you. So yeah, just whatever, giving the players the opportunity to develop their characters better, especially if you have a ranger in the party or a druid, and then ending that, making those decisions matter, whatever they may be. Like if someone hung a bear bag in my campaign, I would be stoked. I would be stoked. I would have, I don't even know what, some magical squirrel depositing golden chestnuts in that bag, like something. I would do something to make it worthwhile and relevant. And I think that's half of the game that I'm playing as a dungeon master, is like figuring out the consequences of what the players are doing. And the cooler they are, the more I want to encourage and reward those choices.
Yeah, so I think we presented two very good ways to do this. One is just a straight up mechanical way to do it. The other one is more like preparing to improv, right? So you create your creatures that are going to be in this forest, and then you kind of walk through different scenarios that might trigger these creatures. So that way you're prepared to improv based on whatever your players do. So that would be kind of Ryan's approach, which I actually, now that you articulate it, really like.
I'll send you the tables. No charge.
All right, everyone, we are out of time. We are the Landlocked Warlocks. This has been Casual Friday. You are you, we are us, and thank you for watching and listening. And we'll see you around. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.